Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dazer. I'm here with my Damien Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Layne. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Good. I've been looking forward to this show a lot.
Yes, you have been.
I have a lot to say.
I know. I've heard a lot.
It's a tricky situation because today we're talking about intermittent fasting. For those of you who don't know, a few months ago, I said on the show that I thought it was a diet fad and I wasn't into it. Don't bother.
We were kind of highlighting coming from a place of the women we've worked with and the reasons that we've seen people actually gain weight while using, air quotes, intermittent fasting.
And some of the people who I follow, not just women, guys too.
Sure.
Who I don't know if I trusted or, and, the research wasn't there and the research still isn't fully there. But I thought I should just give it a try before I totally discount it.
Yeah, you pulled a me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pulled a you.
Yeah.
And what an awesome experience it's been.
It's so crazy.
There's a ton of caveats to go over.
Yeah.
But I've been doing intermittent fasting for 2 months now, exactly.
So what exactly are you doing instead of just using the...
I'm doing 13 hours circadian rhythm fasting. So within 2 hours of the sun going down, you stop eating. 13 hours later, you can eat breakfast.
Right. So usually that is what time of day are you stopping eating?
7.
Let's say. So 7 p.m. you stop eating, and then by what time in the morning you can eat
I
again?
eat breakfast at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yeah.
So really for a lot of people that's not unrealistic.
No, it's not bad.
And that's really what you should be doing, and it doesn't even need,
it doesn't need a title, no.
It doesn't need the intermittent fasting, circadian rhythm, intermittent fasting title.
The title should be just don't eat at night.
Right, and that's what we have been saying for years, but this is very rigid, and you've been following it very firm.
I have been, oh yes. I've been dedicated. I haven't missed a day.
And the craziest part is you haven't changed how you eat necessarily. I'm still eating on plan. You work out less because you haven't had time.
Yeah. And
how much weight did you lose?
I'm down 16 pounds.
That's so...
shocking.
It's really impressive because also with Dave, I'll say, is... he is very serious about his treats as well. Like once a week, he really indulges in treats. He has...
I mean, probably if you listen to the show, you know I'm serious about treats.
Yeah. Donuts are huge around here for him. And, he has his red wine and, he eats healthy. But this, just my witnessing it, you have not had as much time to work out and you've lost weight effortlessly.
I have. I'm one of those guys in a situation where I was an athlete prior to this, and I was always super lean. And then since being an athlete, I haven't had time to keep up the exact same exercise routine.
But even so, we work out once a day. We make an effort to. But since True has come into our lives, she runs the show, and it hasn't been. You have not been able to be as consistent. You still work out, but it's not like every day like you used to, even after being an athlete.
Well, as an athlete, I was about 175, which is what I am now, 174. And then in university, in my next 4 years of university in naturopathic medical school, I was up to 210 at one point.
Yeah, you were really chunking it up there. And it's so funny because at the exact same time, I got really, really, really lean. Remember that? Yeah. So us together looked crazy.
Yeah, it did. Then I got down to 190 and just pretty much stuck around there for a long time. And then
which I want to say at all these weights, he was healthy. None of these weights were you unhealthy, except for the 210.
The 210, that wasn't very healthy.
No, the 210 was...
Yeah. The 190 was pretty healthy for me.
The 210 was unfortunate because you had literally no time to work out and you just ate.
I ate
to
like
stay
crazy.
Awake
I feel like I had
study.
blood sugar issues too. I mean, being an athlete, I think athletes do have blood sugar issues after they're done.
Sure, but you were staying up. Like, I would go to bed and not see you, and then you would come to bed in the middle of the night, and then you would be gone before I woke up in the morning. Like, it was, you were pushing it.
Yeah. So 8 weeks, 16 pounds. Now, there's another caveat here. There's another type of intermittent fasting where you just do reduced calorie days. I've been doing that on Mondays.
I know.
So on Mondays, I've been doing smoothies and soups, which takes my my caloric intake down to about 600 calories for that day. Where the other days are just totally regular amount of eating. But I would say, because I'm such a big nighttime eater, that my calories are down in total.
Yeah, I would say totally.
And if you look at the research for restricted diets, people are trying to do intermittent fasting trials on humans all the time now, because there's some really good research for mice and worms on restricted diets. So the human trials are like coming out like crazy, but it's only if you reduce your calories do you lose weight.
So I want to say one thing. How I've always eaten, and like since I became a healthy person, and eating on, say, the Bikini Body Program or the 21-day vegan, which is how I live, I never ate past 7.
No.
And wouldn't eat until at least 8 in the morning. So
none of this matters, really.
No, a lot of people that are on our program would be like, well, that's what I do.
Yeah,
well,
we're doing that
you are intermittent fasting in the circadian rhythm
for sure
umbrella.
Or if you're hungry after supper, it's like a handful of almonds, or the like nighttime treats.
I never would eat at night.
No, you wouldn't.
I am right now, because this whole keeping my calories up to breastfeed things drive me crazy. Like, I'm so jealous that he's been able to do this.
Oh my gosh, you should see her.
I'm so jealous.
Just every day, it's like, I want to do this.
I can't wait. As soon as I'm done breastfeeding, I'm going to be very serious about it, and I want to see if I'm, more conscious about it, if it does make a...
I think, I have to say, I think the circadian rhythm, the eating with the sun portion is very important.
And it's something unconsciously we've been always told people to do, and we've done ourselves, because it's just so healthy.
Yeah, it is.
You don't need to eat at night. You're not using the energy.
Right.
You need the fuel during the day. There are some warnings here that I want to give, and especially me, some red flags come up when we talk about this, because there is the whole diet fad trend thing that comes up, and I've worked with thousands of women now from all over the world that have had, hormonal imbalances, emotional eating issues, addictions to fad diets. So I have to say there's a few things that we definitely have to go over, that this is not for you if.
Yeah, there for sure are. It can be quite addictive. And I was just reading an article the other day, I think it was New York Times or something. They were talking about intermittent fasting and how people get psyched about being hungry.
Yeah, so if you have had experiences with anorexia or bulimia, this is not for you. No. So that's one category. You're not trying
to be hungry.
This is one category that is just not for you. This will be a 100% a trigger, and we don't want that for anybody. Yeah. So that's one subset of people. Another
one is if you have trouble with iron deficiency. Anytime you restrict calories, there's going to be a risk of your iron going lower, and especially if you're replacing meals with tea. Like for example, myself, after 7 p.m. I'm drinking a lot of tea. Sometimes, because I can handle caffeine, I'll have black tea, which blocks iron absorption. So for people who are already iron deficient or have had trouble with that in the past, this can be an issue. The other thing, physiologically, is constipation.
Yeah, and that's something that, especially with women, I see that if you're not having healthy, regular bowel movements, you're not going to burn body fat, you're not going to be regular. Yeah. It's just not. It's not for you. It's not going to work. So if you have issues with constipation, this could be a real trigger again.
They see it a lot with the other type of intermittent fasting, the 5-2. It's really popular in the UK, where this is what Jimmy Kimmel did. 2 days of 600 calories, 5 days of regular eating.
Right.
Now, when you're doing the 5-2 intermittent fasting, those 2 days, if you're prone to constipation, you're not getting any fiber. So it's quite risky.
The other thing I will say is, if you're drinking enough fluids, eating enough fluids, you may be okay. But if you are prone to it, I'd be careful.
If you're prone to it, if you have reduced peristalsis, if you need a bulky stool to have a bowel movement, the 5-2 isn't going to work for you.
I hope there's someone that just is listening to this podcast and just only heard that sentence. And it's just like, what in the heck?
We should take that quote out.
Yeah.
That should be the title.
Yeah. What in the heck is this podcast?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, continue.
For sure.
If you need a bulky stool.
If you need a bulky stool, this one's not going to work.
This is not for you.
Nope. What else?
I think sometimes with women with hormonal imbalances, or if you adrenal fatigue, like if you're going through that type of thing, don't add this onto it, because this can trigger stress hormones. If you're healing from adrenal fatigue, you've got to give it 100%, and you can't do any of this.
Let me give my perspective on this. My perspective is it depends on the stage.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're in the stressed out stage where you're just go, you're in sympathetic response, you haven't hit burnout, but you've got a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, doubt, and worry, then your cortisol and adrenaline are most likely high, which means you're going to have an increase of lipid storage proteins. You can put on fat a lot quicker. So you're going into storage mode is what it's called, like mainstream. When it can be like the reduction in calories may not make that big of a difference for you.
Right.
If you're in stressed out mode.
So you're going to be hungry, cranky.
Yes.
And then on top of it, it's not.
And also worried.
Yeah, so.
But if you're in this burnt out mode, so you've passed the stressed out mode, and you've got, say, low cortisol all the time, you can't get your energy up, you're most likely in an inflamed state, because what happens is cortisol is supposed to reduce the immune system, the inflammatory response portion of the immune system. But if you're stressed all the time and you get burnt out, the signals are reduced, so you can be more inflamed, and intermittent fasting can reduce inflammation. So all of a sudden inflammation can come down, and you're eating super clean because you need to eat healthy on this. You can't just eat crap during the day.
No, and that's another thing that people say, you can eat whatever you want. No, you can't.
So you're focused on nutrients because you know if you don't get the proper nutrients, you're going to be super tired. That happens. And then those nutrients are used to actually build cortisol and adrenaline. Your adrenals can heal. So I think possibly, I would do this with supervision. In burnout, this could be helpful.
So the one other thing I would say this isn't for you is, in a lot of women that I work with, again, is if you're dealing with healing or in the middle of or triggers of binge eating. Because that whole thing where you like diet really hard and then you're hungry and you wake up the next day and you just eat crap for a whole day. If you're not if you're already not in a healthy eating place, if you haven't dealt with your emotional eating or binge eating, or if you're eating a lot of junk food, I don't think this is for you.
No.
First, you have to get on I'm just going to eat healthy plan. Get your cravings under control, deal with your sugar addiction, binge eating, deal with that for a while before you move into something like this. Because if you just dive into this, again, it's a trigger. For
sure. The main reason there is going to take a few days to get going anyhow. So you want to be in a good place. Like, you can stop eating at night. Sure, you should.
Everybody should.
Quit eating at night.
But when you're talking about these hours for someone that hasn't done this,
no,
it's hard.
Well, the first 3 days are a nightmare. You're hungry. You know, you get used to that hunger signal being present again. I feel like I wasn't hungry for about 6 years.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people, and that's the same way with sugar addiction. People talk about that when they decide, oh, I don't eat that much sugar, but I'm gonna cut it out, and they get serious about it. Those 3 days, it's hell. And you're like, how can I be detoxing? Like, I didn't realize that I was addicted, and that it's the same type of thing.
Yes. We should talk more benefits. Let's swing to the other side.
Yeah,
do you have
sure.
anything else on the negative? I mean,
no.
If you have B12 deficiency, it can make it worse too.
I'm just very protective of people, because I like people to get to their goal in the safest, easiest route, and I don't like it when people try intense things and then get frustrated and get buried in it. And I see a lot of people, to hell with everything, and then they just never get healthy because they try these things and it's too intense, it's too much too fast.
Yes. So
you have to know yourself and be honest.
You do.
You
absolutely do. I mean, knowing yourself, I think that's probably the most important
thing. It's the most important thing.
And know if you're a night eater. If you don't know, you're going to find out really quick. I did.
And the great thing is that if you can commit to this, and this isn't a trigger for you for anything negative, it's awesome.
Oh, it's
great.
So good. It's so good. Here's what I've experienced, other than the weight loss. I mean, the weight loss was good. But I should also mention on the weight loss side of things, there's research to show that if you're an athlete, or if you're working out at sort of an athletic level, then you can begin to burn muscle instead of burning fat.
Yeah, that's not good.
So you have to watch that. If you're not eating enough protein, which, there's debate on how much protein you actually need, but when you start reducing calories and you're working out intensely, like I'm only talking about amateur level and professional level athletes here. I'm not talking about people who work out.
No.
That athletes can burn muscle, but aside from that, the benefits are incredible. So the research for intermittent fasting, like I said, is mostly for calorie restriction. We know that calorie restriction is associated with longevity. So people who are leaner live longer, basically, is the idea. People who eat less live longer. The calorie restriction is associated with a reduction of inflammation. And I've noticed that in such a significant way. I feel like the months before the holiday this year, other than the lack of sleep, I was in more of an inflamed state than I normally would be. What from past traumas, I've had a few concussions, back injuries. I get specific bouts of inflammation that was wiped out in the first couple of weeks. I've been pretty fresh since middle of January, which is good for the lack of sleep that I've had. Mood changes are significant. I didn't realize how low I was, I think, from overeating. When you overeat and you feel tired and you feel sluggish, I think I was in that state for a while, and this pulled me out of it pretty quick. On Mondays, when I have the low-calorie diet, I have the most energy of the whole week. One caveat to this, I got really excited the first 3 weeks and started doing more than 13 hours. Okay, so I was using this app to track. There's an app called Zero. It's awesome. You use it to track how many hours you're fasting. You just press it when you're done supper. You press it again when you're about to eat breakfast, and it just tracks for you. It's called Zero. It's on the App Store. It was just launched a month ago.
I think it's free,
2 months ago.
Right?
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. And anyhow, so on the app, you can see my scores. Like I was doing 14, 16 hours of fasting every single night. On the third week, I was feeling good, burnt out, done.
Yeah.
Couldn't move. And this was about for a few days, and I just cut it back to 13 hours.
So it's almost like you were cleansing.
Cleansing for sure.
And then it was like, this isn't sustainable.
Yeah, and that's when I lost most of the weight too.
Yeah.
So that's something to watch out for. More doesn't actually equal better.
No.
A lot of people will say that though. Like you hear a lot
that's
of people,
like all things.
and it's mostly men who, what I've seen so far, and this is a total generalization, men who don't have a day job. They're entrepreneur type men who are at their desk in their home for 8 hours a day and just eat for those 8 hours. They can do 8 hours and then fast for 16. They're pretty. They're pretty good. But I don't know how they do it, because I don't think I could do it. I don't think it would work for me.
You also have a really busy schedule, and you don't have time to just eat anytime you want.
Yeah, I'm sure they do too. What was happening?
If you're home, you can eat anytime though. You can work and eat.
Yeah, right. What I found at the 16 hours is that when I would have breakfast, I'd be starving, right? Like I would eat a significant breakfast, and it's like at 9 or 10 a.m. because I had to do 16 and I didn't get home till late the night before. I would be really tired after breakfast.
Yeah, it's too much.
Like just heavy on the stomach, and no pain or anything, which was good. My enzymes weren't thrown off. I think my gut flora was good. Everything was good. It was literally just a bout of fatigue for about an hour. Sluggishness. Anyways, I stopped that.
Yeah.
I quit it. So I don't recommend it. But other benefits. So the reduction of inflammation, improved mood, weight loss.
Yeah, you're not cranky with it.
I don't feel cranky.
Surprising.
No, I don't. I feel better. You feel lighter on your toes. You feel more energy. Coffee works a whole lot better.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I was immune to the effects of caffeine for a long time. And now I get a pretty good jolt, Yeah.
I'm jealous. I can't wait to try this and give my opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to you trying it as well. It's a fun
but I
thing
think
to try.
it's going to end up just how I used to live.
Yeah, almost likely. So the biggest trial that's going on right now is, I don't know where it is, and I'll find the link, but I just read it the other day. They did this study with a large group of women where they cut their calories by 25%, like a significant cut in calories. After 6 months, they all lost 10% of their body weight. Reducing calories works. Now, if you look at this holistically, like I said, if you're in a stressed out situation, you're doing a lot more lipid storage.
Okay, but when you say calories, I don't want people to be like, get into calorie counting.
No, oh yeah, I don't mean
he does not mean that. He means like whole natural foods. That's how you reduce your calories.
Yes, absolutely. So the benefit of this diet, where they were cutting the calories, this is how it's titled. But I don't want to. Your researchers are all about calories. This study, they were using a nutritionist who was balancing their macronutrients.
Right.
So it's forget even the word calories. They were eating less is the idea.
Small portions of.
But they were eating balanced meals.
Right.
The nutritionist guided them through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard. They were hungry, you know. They all lost 10% of the body weight, which is what I lost. I ended up losing 10% in only 8 weeks. So it works, but there's a holistic approach that should be followed because it's not going to work for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned this, you know, lipid storage in stressed out situations, but there's also hormonal imbalance issues that can cause water retention. And when your bowels change, if you're not having bowel movements, it's going to be much harder to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all much easier for men, you know, because our hormones are pretty straightforward. Right. Our hormones are pretty straightforward. Yeah. Our blood sugar regulation is pretty straightforward.
You don't have the fluctuations we do.
No, nothing. It's so easy. We have greater muscle mass, so our metabolism is
higher. But the
higher.
other thing is, too, and we always forget, like, women were designed to have excess body fat because we were designed to have babies.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's totally different for men. Anyhow, intermittent fasting, I like it. I'm into it. I'm using it for the reduction of inflammation in many cases with my patients now because I think it's good. So, I don't know. I'm into it. But it's something worth trying if feel like you're an overeater or you're eating a lot at night. Something to just simple change where you can just, as soon as the sun goes down, just think about stopping. And then, you know, maybe don't eat until 13 hours later. And at the 12-hour mark, you're probably going to be hungry. What happens is your liver storage of sugar completely depleted, especially if you worked out after 12 hours of not eating. So fasting for 12 hours, another reason why if you usually fast for 12 hours before blood tests that require fasting, like fasting blood sugar and cholesterol testing. Your liver's done burning sugar at 12 hours, so you get into ketosis. You're in there for an hour, then you have breakfast.
Right.
Pretty simple. And
you're only recommending the circadian rhythm intermittent fasting.
I am at the current time.
Right.
I think the 5-2 is interesting.
Yeah.
I think people binge on day 3.
Yeah.
And it's a little tricky because we know binging is terrible for you.
But right now, what you're only suggesting is the circadian rhythm.
I am. Oh, with my patients, you mean? Yes, absolutely.
And that's how you have energy for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how you function like a normal human being.
It is. It's much less extreme, and you can go about your daily life. It's just don't eat at night. It's bad for you.
I've been saying it for years.
We need to. We really, as a society, we probably should consider stopping eating for pleasure.
Yeah, okay, you call me when you really want to do that.
I know.
Because you are the king of loving, like saving up for like a delicious high-end meal. Like you don't do cheap crap, but you are the king of luxury high-end foods. And you even suggesting that is laughable.
But I love to make these big statements.
Yeah, that's... I think that if you like what we suggest in our program once a week,
mm-hmm.
you like set out and you have something that's high end, and I mean high end as in good quality ingredients. Like it doesn't have to be like, it just has to be like just not Oreos, like just something decadent. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that once a week.
No, I agree.
It's healthy. It's like sexuality. It's like a thing. Like it's part of life, but it should only be once a week.
My point is nighttime shouldn't be for looking for what's your event tonight. I'm gonna sit down with this bag of chips.
No.
And it's going to be incredible. I'm gonna watch my program and I'm gonna eat these chips.
In that way,
you know what I mean?
But that's not a high end. That's a mindless.
I'm a proponent of scheduling treats, and now that I'm totally into intermittent fasting, circadian rhythm version, scheduling treats is my thing.
Oh yeah.
I know it's been your thing for years and years, and I'm just on board like everything else.
I just think it's kind of funny.
It's super funny.
It's like you're acting like all this is discovered. like you turned over a rock and you found it. And I just have to say,
oh my God.
I've been doing this since 2008.
I know.
But you know what?
I just love to eat, and it was a stressful thing in the first couple days.
But there's nothing better than a refreshed, exciting view on things.
It's absolutely
And I think
true.
this will be really wonderful for the people listening.
And if you have an addictive personality, one thing that's worked for me is develop a tea habit. Switch. I mean, don't be obsessive. Okay, sure. But if you have that type of personality where you need something in your hand at night, just, when you're hanging out.
I've always said an uncaffeinated tea, like, you can get so many delicious flavors now, and it's warm, it's filling. Yeah. Really, there's nothing to it.
Completely satisfying.
But I mean, I can't do caffeine in the evening, so it's just uncaffeinated. You're a machine. You can do caffeine in the evening.
Oh, yeah, and it's so cozy. But don't add sugar.
No, and if you need a little bit of sweetness, I am a couple drops of stevia or monk fruit. Do it.
Yeah, and if you're freaked out by that, get the liquid stevia and play around with drops.
Yeah, 1 or 2 does it.
It really does. So what we're trying to do on a final note with this intermittent fasting is we're trying to reduce 3 markers of inflammation: CRP, interleukin-6, and TNF-alpha. These markers, they can be reduced with intermittent fasting type dieting. So something to consider if you're in an inflamed state, if you're suffering from chronic fatigue, or you're just having trouble, reducing your nighttime eating. Get the app and start being disciplined.
Another thing that it can excite you too. Sometimes sometimes for my personality, like, this is how I live, yada yada yada. But for me, when I'm done breastfeeding and I'm able to be strict again, I know it's just going to excite me.
Yeah,
it's just going to be an exciting. It's just, I'm an A-type personality. I love a check off a list. I love this is what I'm going to do. I'd love to hit that app button. And sometimes it can just push you that little bit further, that extra little bit of weight just comes off.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
because you become more, firm, and once you fast for 12 hours, you feel proud of yourself. So the next meal you choose something healthy, and then the next meal you choose something healthy, and then it can be a real it can ignite a new excitement, and I'm all for that.
Definitely. I think structure and discipline bleeds over into other areas.
Oh, so yeah.
Like, my organization has significantly improved since intermittent fasting.
Oh my gosh.
There's many other benefits we won't cover today. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. That's my spiel on intermittent fasting for the day.
It's really exciting.
That's Healthy Rebel Radio. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher Radio and leave us a review. Have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Layne has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamiHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.